welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we're doing a very simple, very basic fried chicken recipe. This is our very favorite way to fry chicken. We don't do it a whole lot because it's very annoying and kind of messy to deep fry in a home kitchen, as I'm sure many of you already know. But we do it from time to time, and here are our ingredients. So we're starting off with our chicken. We get these bone-in, skin-on thighs. We're going to season that with some chicken seasoning, some eggs, some buttermilk or kefir, which you're using kefir, some breadcrumbs, some flour, and optionally some milk. And the milk can go in a couple of different places. We'll show you where. So first of all, we are going to marinate these overnight with the buttermilk, or in our case we have kefir here, so we're going to use that. So we're just going to put these all into a large Ziploc bag where they'll all have room to sort of lay flat. So this is one of those huge, just like locking bags. And then we're going to toss in the buttermilk. And all of the amounts are going to be in the description below. So if buttermilk is usually a lot thinner than kefir, so sometimes you want to, if you're using something thicker like kefir, you want to thin it out. This is one of the places where you can use some milk. But we decided it wasn't really necessary. We got good coverage on all of the chicken. We're going to lock that bag closed. We're going to try and get as much air out as we can, and then just give it a little massage just to make sure that it all has really good contact with the kefir or buttermilk. And also make sure that your seal is secure and it's not breaking open or anything. And that's going to go in the fridge. We're going to let that go overnight. Now, for the frying, once it's sat overnight, it's ready to go. So first we're going to start by putting together our egg wash. Now we are just using egg whites here. You don't need yolks in an egg wash. And this is the other place where you can add a little bit of milk if you want to, but we're going to add a little bit of water to this. And this, we're going to beat it until it's good and frothy and is a good consistency for our egg wash, and then we can get going. So first things first, we are going to try and slick any extra of the buttermilk off of there before it hits the flour. I just want to make sure it's all sort of in one piece as best possible. And then we are going to season the top of the flour. Excuse the shaky camera, it is me putting the seasoning on top of the flour. Now this is instead of mixing the seasoning into the flour, because any flour that you don't use you're going to throw away. If you just season the top, more of it will stick to your chicken and will be flavorful as part of your dish, as opposed to just getting thrown away as part of the flour that doesn't get used. So we're just going to pop those into the flour and give them a good dredging. Once they're in the flour, we're going to season the other side, so just a little bit of salt and a little bit more of the seasoning. And then we'll flip those over and give them a little dredge in flour on the other side as well. And you can see that most of that seasoning is now on the chicken instead of mixed into the flour, which is perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Just make sure those are well covered. And then you want to shake off any extra flour, and then that's going to go into your egg wash. You want to make sure you get good coverage on there. And then that is going to go into the breadcrumbs. Now you don't have to use breadcrumbs. You can use, I've seen lots of different things used. I've seen cornflakes, I've seen potato chips, crunched up really, really small. Whatever you prefer, you can use here. Whatever's going to give you that nice crispy outside. Now your oil should already be hot by the time this is done. You don't want these to sit coated. It's going to start to leach some of the liquid out of the chicken. It might dry out a little bit. So once these are covered in breadcrumbs, they should go right into your hot oil. So here you can see they have hit the oil and they're going to fry right away. Now, frying chicken's a little tricky. You do want to make sure that you're at a good balance where it's hot enough that the general pressure of the liquids is going out of the chicken so it's not soaking up the oil, but also you don't want it so hot that it's going to burn the outside before the inside is cooked. Now, for this method, it's okay if it's not cooked all the way through, because what we're going to do is pop these into the oven for a little while, and they're going to finish cooking in there if they're not cooked all the way through. Also, be careful if you have tongs like this. You don't want to tilt them back towards you when they're covered in extremely hot oil. So we're just going to take a little temperature reading on the inside of our chicken. Make sure you're not hitting a bone and you're not all the way through. You want it right in the thick part of the meat. And if you're not at temperature yet, then yep, these can go right into the oven. This will have the added effect of it'll make the outside a little bit crispier. Don't worry about the paper towel on there. Paper burns a little higher than this chicken is baking at. So there we go. So that's all of our chicken. We've fried it all. Some of these have been flipped over. Those first ones were a little bit pale, but everything's now cooked, and it's cooked all the way through, and nothing left now but to taste it. So you do want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. So you want to take that temperature reading, make sure it's the right temperature. Again, you want to avoid any bones, and you want to get right into the deep part of the meat. And there you go. That is perfect. It's juicy inside. Really, really delicious. That outside is really crispy. Being in the oven for a little while really helps that as well. It just enhances that crispiness a little bit. So that's it. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.